Since the city of Cincinnati announced a $32 million budget gap in June, the 9 on Your Side I-Team decided to take a look into just how the city is spending public money.
So the I-Team discovered dozens of developers, nonprofits, and ordinary citizens owe the city nearly $2.3 million in overdue commercial loan payments. I-Team reporter Hillary Lake explains the amount of money the city is out isn't the only surprise here.
Another surprise to several community members and an economist we spoke with is that the city made these loans in the first place. Tired properties like this building in Price Hill scatter Cincinnati. Each is filled with layers of neighborhood history, waiting for a little TLC and a new life. Scott Rosenthal lives a few blocks away, and he's worried.
My concerns are less about what's happening with the property than how the property came to be deeded as it is today.
In May 2016, City Council voted to give developer KB Partners LLC a $315,000 loan to purchase the property on Price Avenue. It's a rundown 18-unit apartment building that could be turned back into a half dozen trendy townhomes. The problem the I-Team discovered, Hamilton County records show KB Partners had already paid $332,500 cash the year before and already owned the Price Avenue property when the city granted the acquisition loan.
I find it troubling that we're handing out $315,000 to a developer for the purpose of doing what they deem appropriate with $315,000 taxpayer dollars.
We took Scott's concerns about who gets these loans and how the city manages them to economist and anti-tax watchdog Jeff Capel. Why would the city be in the business of giving out loans?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's really not a legitimate function of governments.
The I-Team obtained a list of dozens of commercial loans from the city of Cincinnati, like the loan given to KB Partners for the Price Hill property. It reveals payments on most of the loans are current or not due yet. It also shows nearly $11 million in loans made to developers, nonprofits, or ordinary people that the city is either writing off, restructuring, or has sent to collections. $2.3 million of that reflect overdue payments the city has yet to collect. A majority of the loans were made before 2015.
The city isn't exactly advertising that they're in the private loan industry because they don't want citizens to know that.
City records show KB Partners isn't behind or delinquent on its city loan. It's a 5-year, 3% forgivable loan with no payment required until 2021. That means the developer won't have to repay the loan at all if it develops the Price Avenue property according to its contract with the city. The issue is why the developer got the loan in the first place if it already owned the property.
I'm not surprised at all. It's not the first time this has happened. It's not the first time that terms of quiet money that's being passed around by the city.
The city refused an on-camera interview for this story or to discuss the loan to KB Partners, and KB Partners did not respond to our interview requests. In an email, the division manager for the Department of Community and Economic Development provided the I-Team links to the screening processes, which ultimately end with City Council approval.
It really doesn't seem like there is a screening process. If a company is looking to give a loan, they'll have a professionalized system that they'll go through to make sure that you qualify for the loan.
One of the largest and most controversial unpaid city loans is held by Liz Rogers, owner of the failed Mahogany's restaurant at the Banks. Records show the city gave her a $300,000 loan in 2012 on top of a $684,000 grant. In 2015, former city manager Harry Black made a deal that only asked her to repay $100,000. She's only repaid $3,200 and nothing for the past 2 years. Rogers' attorney tells the I-Team, quote, she's working to repay all her financial obligations. Across town in Westwood, records show the city loaned Pine Grove Properties Ltd. $480,000 in 1999 to build a subdivision. Now, nearly 2 decades later, 7 lots in the subdivision are still vacant. The developer didn't repay the loan and sold its interest in the project to a new developer. The city tells the I-Team it's restructuring that loan and working with the new developer to finish the project. And in 2013, the city loaned $205,000 to Acusatherm, a small heating and air conditioning company in Millvale, which has never been repaid. Court records show the majority owner, James Livingston, filed for bankruptcy a year later. The same records show Livingston had already owed $27,000 in delinquent taxes at the time the city granted the loan.
The most obvious red flag is when somebody owes a lot of money to the state or federal government through back taxes, and they're still getting a loan.
Scott Rosenthal thinks the city has a duty to recover the outstanding money. He also thinks the city should do a better job of vetting loan applicants and keep tabs on work they're required to do once they get loans, like the property near his house in Price Hill.
There are a series of firewalls that prevent the transparency that you would expect would be reasonable under circumstances like this.
I worked on this story with my colleague Paula Christian. The city is filing lawsuits in many of these cases, spending more public money to get that loan money back. But as the economists we spoke with told us, the reality is the city might never see a penny. Hillary Lake, 9 on your side.